Rich dad, poor dad, the money lessons. They never taught you. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about money is a lie? That the very system designed to help you succeed is actually keeping you trapped? I discovered this truth when I was just 9 years old, and it changed my life forever. This isn't just another financial video. By the time we're done, you'll see money through an entirely new lens, one that the wealthy have been using for generations, while the rest of us follow outdated rules that no longer work. The richest people I know never needed a high salary. In fact, many of them started with nothing. What they understood, and what I'm about to share with you, is a hidden framework for wealth that schools never teach, parents rarely understand, and most people will never discover. Let me tell you about two fathers who shaped my understanding of money. One was highly educated with a PhD, climbing the traditional success ladder. The other barely finished 8th grade, but became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. One struggled financially his entire life, despite his education. The other built an empire from scratch. I called them my rich dad and my poor dad. Both taught me valuable lessons, but their approaches to money couldn't have been more different. My biological father, my poor dad, believed in studying hard, getting good grades, and finding a secure job. My best friend's father, my rich dad, taught me how money actually works in the real world. When I was 9 years old, my friend Mike and I wanted to get rich. We tried melting down toothpaste tubes to counterfeit nickels until my poor dad caught us and explained it was illegal. When we asked him how to make money, he didn't have a good answer. "Go talk to Mike's dad," he finally said. Mike's father agreed to teach us, but not through lectures. "I'll teach you, but not classroom style," he said. "You work for me, I'll teach you." His first lesson was shocking. He offered to pay us 10 cents an hour. In the 1950s, even that was insultingly low. After 3 weeks of working for peanuts, I was ready to quit. That's exactly what Rich Dad was waiting for. "This is the same feeling that keeps most people trapped," he told me. "They work for money out of fear and greed, never learning the lesson." "What lesson?" I asked. "That money should work for you, not the other way around." This single insight changed everything for me. Most people spend their lives working for money, but the rich have money work for them. It sounds simple, but this perspective shift is worth millions. Poor dad always said, "I can't afford it." Rich dad forbade those words. Instead, he asked, "How can I afford it?" One statement closes your mind. The other opens it to possibilities and forces your brain to find solutions. Let me ask you something. If your income suddenly stopped today, how long could you survive? Most Americans are just 3 paychecks away from financial hardship. This isn't about how much you make. It's about what you do with what you have. I've seen janitors become millionaires while doctors file for bankruptcy. The wealthy understand something crucial. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. It's that simple. Your house? Despite what you've been told, it's not an asset if you're living in it and paying a mortgage. Your car? Definitely not an asset. Anything that costs you money each month is a liability. True assets generate income whether you're working or not. Rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, businesses that don't require your presence, royalties. These are what the rich accumulate, while everyone else accumulates liabilities they think are assets. I remember when Rich Dad showed me his balance sheet. While he lived in a modest home, he owned dozens of rental properties, stocks, and businesses. My poor dad had an impressive resume, but struggled to make ends meet with just his salary and pension. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets, Rich Dad told me. The rich buy assets that truly generate income. Consider this, period. When you get a raise, what do you typically do? Most people upgrade their lifestyle. Bigger house, nicer car, better vacations. The wealthy do something entirely different. They use that extra money to buy more assets, which generate even more income, which buys more assets. This cycle creates true financial freedom. Here's what nobody tells you about taxes. They're designed to punish employees and reward business owners and investors. An employee earns, gets taxed, then spends what's left. A business owner earns, spends on business expenses, then gets taxed on what's left. This legal difference is worth hundreds of thousands over your lifetime. Remember when I said most of what you've been taught about money is wrong? Let's talk about the biggest myth. Get a good education, find a secure job, save money. This might have worked for our grandparents, but today, that path leads to financial vulnerability, not security. The rules have changed dramatically. Company loyalty is gone. Inflation eats away at savings. Pensions have disappeared. Social security is uncertain. Yet most people still follow the old playbook. I was fortunate to have two perspectives. My poor dad kept saying, "I'm going to get a promotion and a raise." My rich dad asked, "How can I generate income without having to work?" One thought like an employee, the other like an investor. Want to know something fascinating? The ultra-wealthy often have little cash. They understand that cash loses value to inflation, so they convert it quickly into assets that appreciate or generate income. This is exactly the opposite of what most financial advisors tell you about building an emergency fund. When I left the Marine Corps, I had a choice: follow my poor dad's path and get a corporate job, or follow my rich dad's advice. I joined Xerox to learn sales, not for the salary. While my colleagues focused on climbing the corporate ladder, I was building a real estate portfolio on the side. 3 years later, I was making more from my investments than from my job. That's when I walked away. Think about it. Would you rather work for money your entire life or build systems that make money work for you? The choice seems obvious, yet 95% of people choose the first path. Now I need to address something critical. You might be thinking, "This all sounds great, but I don't have money to invest." I hear this all the time, and it's the wrong focus. The issue isn't lack of money, it's lack of financial education and mindset. My rich dad never gave me money to invest. What he gave me was far more valuable: the knowledge and mindset to find opportunities others missed. When I bought my first investment property, I had almost no money. I found a great deal, structured creative financing, and made it work. The wealthy focus on financial intelligence, not just capital. Financial intelligence comes down to mastering 4 main skills: accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law. You don't need to be an expert, but you need enough knowledge to spot opportunities and avoid disasters. Let me tell you about my first major investment. I found a small house in a developing area being sold for $18,000 below market value because the owners were transferring jobs. I put down $1,000 on my credit card as earnest money. Then I advertised the house for sale at market value. Within days, I had multiple offers. I sold my contract for $40,000, never actually buying the house myself. From $1,000 to $40,000 in 30 days with minimal risk. Most people never see these opportunities because they're trained to think like employees, not investors. They save money in bank accounts instead of developing financial intelligence. Here's what happens to most people. They work hard, try to save some money, but financial pressures keep mounting. Rather than learning about money, they work harder. Their expenses always catch up to their income. It's like running on a financial treadmill that keeps accelerating. The wealthy operate with a completely different mindset. They ask, "How can I afford this?" Not as wishful thinking, but as a genuine question that forces their mind to find creative solutions. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, while most people saw disaster, sophisticated investors saw the opportunity of a lifetime to acquire assets at fire sale prices. I've noticed a pattern among those who struggle financially. They often say things like, "I'm just not interested in money," or "money isn't important," or "I'll never be rich." These statements become self-fulfilling prophecies. The truth is, money is just a tool, neither good nor evil. What matters is your relationship with it. Let me share something personal. My poor dad was brilliant academically. He read constantly, but he never read financial books. My rich dad didn't have an extensive library, but the books he did have were about accounting, taxes, and investing, and he studied them deeply. One father thought education ended with school. The other believed learning about money was a lifelong pursuit. This reminds me of a crucial point, period. The biggest risk you face isn't investing. It's not developing financial intelligence. People who never learn how money works face the greatest financial peril. Consider this scenario I've seen repeatedly. Someone works 30 to 40 years, dutifully saving in retirement accounts. Then, just as they're about to retire, a market crash wipes out 30 to 50% of their nest egg. With no time to recover and no financial knowledge to protect themselves, their retirement dreams evaporate. This happened to millions in 2008. The wealthy protect themselves by understanding economic cycles and positioning accordingly. They don't just blindly trust financial institutions with their future. Now let me be clear about something. Building wealth isn't about getting rich quick. It's about consistently applying sound principles over time. My rich dad always emphasized that financial success comes from small daily decisions, not grand one-time events. I remember when I bought my first real rental property. It only produced $25 in positive cash flow each month after all expenses. Most people would say, why bother for just $25? But Rich Dad had taught me to start small and learn. That property was my real-world education. 2 years later, I understood enough to buy larger properties. 5 years later, that knowledge was generating thousands monthly. The average person's problem isn't their salary. It's that they've never developed the capacity to recognize and create financial opportunities. They've been trained to work for money rather than understanding how to make money work for them. Remember what I said about assets versus liabilities? Let me make this even clearer. The middle class buys things that they think will make them look rich. Expensive cars, designer clothes, bigger houses. The wealthy buy things that will actually make them rich. Income-producing real estate, businesses, paper assets that generate cash flow. Here's a powerful illustration. A $400,000 house you live in might actually cost you about $30,000 annually when you factor in mortgage, taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance. That's $2,500 leaving your pocket every month. A $400,000 apartment building might generate $5,000 monthly in rent, while costing $3,000 in expenses. That's $2,000 coming into your pocket every month. Same amount invested, completely opposite financial outcomes. This isn't about depriving yourself. The wealthy still enjoy luxury, but they buy those luxuries using income from their assets, not their labor. They buy the asset first, then use the income from that asset to fund their lifestyle. Let me tell you about a strategy I've used repeatedly. I call it paying yourself first. Most people pay everyone else, the mortgage company, the credit card company, the government, and then try to save what's left. Usually there's nothing left. The wealthy pay themselves first by putting aside money for assets before paying other expenses. But what if I don't have enough to pay my bills then? People ask. That's exactly the point. When you pay yourself first, you'll feel the pressure of not having enough for other expenses. This pressure does something remarkable. It forces you to think creatively about making more money. Your financial intelligence grows out of necessity. This approach requires courage at first. I remember months where I paid myself first, then didn't have enough for some bills. The pressure was uncomfortable but pushed me to find solutions, negotiating with creditors, finding additional income sources, or restructuring expenses. This pressure made me stronger financially, while most people avoid discomfort at all costs. Now let's talk about the emotional aspect of wealth. Money amplifies who you are. If you're scared about money, having more won't solve that fear. It will amplify it. I've seen people receive large inheritances or win lotteries only to lose everything because they never addressed their underlying relationship with money. My poor dad was terrified of losing money, so he never took calculated risks. My rich dad respected money, but wasn't afraid of temporarily losing it in pursuit of knowledge and greater returns. One died financially stressed, despite a good education and career. The other died wealthy and fulfilled. The most valuable skill you can develop is learning to distinguish between good and bad financial advice. Everyone has opinions about money, but few have results to back up their opinions. My rule is simple, period. I only take financial advice from people who are where I want to be. I've met many financial experts who teach but don't practice. They tell others to invest in mutual funds, while they themselves avoid them. They recommend saving when they're heavily in debt. Always look at someone's financial results, not just their credentials. Something I've observed repeatedly. People who lack financial knowledge often criticize those who take financial risks. That's too risky, they say, about investments they don't understand. Meanwhile, I consider working 40+ years, hoping your company and pension remain solvent, to be the riskiest plan of all. Financial struggle is often a result of following conventional wisdom without questioning it. Buy a house. It's an investment. Save for retirement. Get out of debt. Some of this advice made sense in previous eras, but may be dangerously outdated now. Let me share one of the most valuable lessons Rich Dad taught me: understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt drains your finances. Credit cards, personal loans, mortgages on residences. Good debt makes you money. Loans for rental properties that generate more income than the loan costs. Business loans that multiply your returns. Leverage that amplifies your investing capacity. Most people avoid all debt because they don't understand this distinction. The wealthy use strategic debt as a powerful wealth-building tool. Every major fortune I've studied used leverage intelligently. I'm often asked, what's the first step to financial freedom? My answer surprises most people. It's not making more money or finding the perfect investment. It's taking control of your cash flow. Track every dollar coming in and going out for 90 days. This simple exercise reveals more about your financial reality than any book or course. When I suggest this, about 95% of people never do it. They say they're too busy, yet they'll spend hours watching TV or scrolling social media. The truth is, facing your financial reality requires courage. Most prefer comfortable illusions. Here's something fascinating about wealth creation. The rich understand that money is just an idea, backed by faith. What matters isn't the currency itself, but the agreements and systems around it. When Nixon took America off the gold standard in 1971, money became a pure idea, backed only by trust in government. Understanding this shift is crucial to navigating today's financial landscape. I learned another key principle from Rich Dad. You profit when you buy, not when you sell. Most people get excited about what they might sell something for. The wealthy focus obsessively on buying at the right price. I've walked away from hundreds of good deals because the purchase price wasn't right, regardless of potential profits. This approach requires patience. Few people have. While others rush into investments fearing they'll miss out, the financially intelligent wait for the right opportunity at the right price. Consider this powerful truth. Your profession is how you earn money, but your business is how you build wealth. A doctor earns through medicine, but might build wealth through real estate investments. An engineer earns through engineering, but might build wealth through stock dividends. Confusing your profession with your business keeps many high-income earners from achieving true financial freedom. What I'm sharing isn't theoretically complex. The principles are quite simple, but applying them consistently requires overcoming tremendous social and psychological programming. The system needs employees who will work diligently within it, not financially independent thinkers who operate outside it. Let me share a pattern I've noticed among friends who transitioned from financial struggle to financial freedom. They all reached a point where they became absolutely clear about what they wanted and wouldn't tolerate financially. This moment of clarity, this line in the sand, seems to be the catalyst for transformation. For me, it came when I realized I never wanted to worry about bills again, not just being able to pay them, but never having to worry about them. That clarity drove every financial decision thereafter, sometimes against conventional advice and social pressure. One of the most counterintuitive wealth principles is learning to use volatility to your advantage. While most people fear market fluctuations, the wealthy understand that volatility creates opportunity. Some of my largest financial wins came during market crashes when assets were available at tremendous discounts. This requires having both financial education and emotional control. Without both, market downturns become threats rather than opportunities. My rich dad taught me to prepare for market cycles, not predict them. When others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy, as Warren Buffett famously said. The single most important financial decision you'll make isn't about any specific investment. It's who you choose to discuss money with. If you want to be wealthy, spend time with people who are already financially successful. If your financial conversations happen primarily with those who are also struggling, you're limiting your perspective and opportunities. I deliberately sought mentors who had achieved what I wanted financially. Sometimes this meant being the least knowledgeable person in the room, which was uncomfortable but incredibly valuable. Your financial growth is directly tied to your willingness to be a beginner among experts. Let me address something that stops many people. Period. The fear of making mistakes with money. This fear paralyzes them into inaction, which ironically guarantees financial mediocrity. The wealthy have a completely different relationship with financial mistakes. They see them as tuition, the cost of financial education. I've made numerous financial mistakes, some costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I've never made the same mistake twice, and the education from those experiences has generated millions in returns. The goal isn't avoiding all mistakes. It's recovering quickly and learning permanently from them. Here's something powerful to consider. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail financially? How would you approach money differently? Most people live with such fear around money that they never access their full creativity and potential. They make decisions from a place of scarcity rather than possibility. The wealthy maintain perspective about money. They understand it's important, but not at the expense of relationships, health, or purpose. Some of the most miserable people I've met had plenty of money, but nothing else. True wealth includes financial abundance alongside rich experiences, relationships, and contribution. Speaking of contribution, there's a fascinating pattern among the truly wealthy. They understand that money flows toward value creation. The more value you create for others, the more money naturally flows to you. This mindset of contribution, rather than extraction, characterizes sustainable wealth builders. My rich dad taught me to always ask, how can I provide more value, rather than, how can I get paid more? One focuses on giving, the other on taking. The market rewards the first approach abundantly over time. I want to share something personal. For years I struggled with believing I deserved financial abundance. Many people have unconscious beliefs that limit their financial potential. Beliefs formed in childhood about what's possible or appropriate for them financially. Identifying and changing these beliefs can dramatically accelerate your financial growth. For me, it required consciously recognizing that creating wealth wasn't selfish. It expanded my capacity to contribute and help others. This perspective shift removed a massive internal barrier. The path to financial freedom requires sustaining motivation through challenges. External motivation, wanting a nice car or house, rarely provides enough fuel for the journey. The wealthy connect their financial goals to deeper purposes: family security, freedom of choice, maximum contribution, or legacy. When your financial journey aligns with your deepest values, you find reserves of determination that others lack. This explains why some people persist through setbacks, while others give up at the first obstacle. Remember how I said the rich have money work for them? Let me make this concrete. If you need $5,000 monthly to live, you need assets producing at least that much passive income. At a 5% return, that's $1.2 million in income-producing assets. This simple math provides a clear target for financial independence. Most people never calculate this number, so they work indefinitely without a clear finish line. Knowing your financial freedom number and tracking progress toward it creates tremendous clarity and motivation. I want to address something critical about modern wealth building. The information age has created unprecedented opportunities for creating value and wealth without large capital investments. While physical assets like real estate remain powerful, intellectual assets, products of your mind and creativity, can now generate substantial income with minimal startup costs. Books, courses, software, content, expertise, these scalable intellectual assets have created more first-generation millionaires in the past 2 decades than perhaps any other asset class. The wealthy recognize and leverage this shift. As we near the end of our journey today, I want to emphasize something crucial. Taking action separates those who achieve financial freedom from those who merely wish for it. Knowledge without application has no value. The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter. They consistently apply what they learn about money. Start small, but start now. Your first investment might not make you rich, but it will teach you lessons no book or video can. My first rental property's 25 monthly cash flow wasn't life-changing money, but the education from that experience became worth millions. I'd like to leave you with this final thought. Your financial future is created by your daily habits, not occasional grand gestures. Reading financial books regularly, tracking your expenses, spending time with financially successful people, consistently investing in assets. These simple habits compound into extraordinary results over time. The gap between where you are financially and where you want to be might seem vast, but remember, the journey begins with a single step and continues with consistent daily progress. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. If this video has shifted your perspective on money, please share it with someone who needs this message. Leave a comment about which principle resonated most deeply with you. And if you're committed to continuing your financial education, subscribe for more insights that the wealthy understand, but most people never discover. Remember, assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. Your financial freedom depends on which one you accumulate. Choose wisely, and I'll see you in the next video.